Joe Rogan, on his latest episode or whatever, gave a endorsement to RFK Jr. He endorsed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in this video. What I find very funny about this is that he had a bit of a Kyle Rittenhouse moment. He endorsed RFK Jr. and immediately the Republicans were like, oh, what the you? Cat Third, the left crying about Joe Rogan 24/7 is making him 1,000 times more popular. Dear leftist, ... Joe Rogan can say anything he wants on his podcast, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it but cry. Joe Rogan endorses RFK Jr. So I've never been a Joe Rogan fan. Can't stand him. Yes, he has a popular podcast, but I've always thought he was absolutely politically dumb. He's great at figuring things out 2 years after we do. What a legend. So did it surprise me when he endorsed idiot RFK Jr. today? LOL. No. We are talking about the same fucking idiot who endorsed Bernie Sanders, right? He's the podcast equivalent of a dumb blonde joke. Who has the gayest low IQ dumb male blonde joke political infant podcast in the world? Joe Rogan. Answer A. Answer B. Also Joe Rogan. So that's the beauty of it all. These guys are an insane cult. It's over. I mean, it's already over. The American Project is done. Okay, we have been fucking running on fumes. So Joe Rogan was forced to basically make a fucking statement. They built this audience. It's filled to the brim with dumbass hogs, and they just kind of are audience captured in that regard. They now are too invested in maintaining this grift, or rather, like, they believe some of the statements that they're making, but maybe not all of it. But because their audience is so massively right-wing, because they've pandered so much to the fucking hogs, that they can't even say, like, I kind of like RFK Jr. without everybody calling them gay. So Joe Rogan, after Donald Trump pounced on him, as well as everybody else, Trump joins his supporters in attacking Joe Rogan for saying he's an RFK Jr. fan. It will be interesting to see how loudly Joe Rogan gets booed at the next time he enters the UFC ring, MAGA 2024. So he now turned around and posted a tweet. He said, for the record, this isn't an endorsement. This is me saying that I like RFK Jr. as a person, and I really appreciate the way he discusses things with civility and intelligence. I think we could use more of that in this world. I also think Trump raising his fist and saying fight after getting shot is one of the most American fucking things of all time. I'm not the guy to get political information from. If you want that from a comic, go to Comic Dave Smith. He actually knows what he's talking about. Hogs were crying about the endorsement. Thanks for clearing this up because I was literally crying about it. You are not normal. You have lost your mind if you're crying about Joe Rogan endorsing RFK Jr. over Donald Trump. Holy moly. But Joe Rogan wasn't the only person. Okay, so they did this with Joe because much like Democrats, they're now vote shaming, which I personally love. Keep up the good work. You only do this if you want to lose, okay? But it doesn't end there. Setback for the RFK Jr. campaign. Right-wing YouTuber Tim Pool says he'll vote for him, and RFK thanks him. But now Pool, after facing criticism for Cat Dirt and other prominent MAGA figures for abandoning Trump, says he was just kidding and won't be voting for RFK after all. That was a short-lived haha, I was just kidding moment from Tim Pool, who, you know, is famous for this kind of haha just kidding moments. He's a kidder. He loves the jokes. He's a big jokester. Oof, I really stepped in it this time. Ha ha ha, holy crap, I'm voting for Trump. What the fuck? Wait, I thought Tim was a centrist. I can't believe Hogs thought RFK was siphon votes from Biden. Yeah, that was awesome. Do the Trump cult get proud for bullying them into apologizing, or do they believe they magically had an epiphany? You do this when you are losing. You play bully ball and you fucking bully voters and you vote shame when you're losing. I love this stuff. I hate it when the Democratic Party does this. Think about if you are a liberal, if you're in this chat, and there's a lot of liberals amongst us right now because there's a lot of people tuning back into the election, excited about Kamala Harris, reinvigorated. Remember how funny it is when Cat Turd starts yelling about Joe Rogan, his endorsement of not Trump. Don't do that. Don't be like the fucking MAGA cultists. This is why we say you look like the MAGA cultists. You look like blue. You look like blue MAGA.
That's just what they do. That's politics. They do it on the left. They do it on the right. They gaslight you. They manipulate you. They promote narratives. And the only one who's not doing that is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
You a fan?
Yeah, I am a fan. Yeah, he's the only one that makes sense to me. He's the only one that he doesn't attack people. He attacks actions and ideas, but he's much more reasonable and intelligent. You know, before anybody started calling him an anti-vaxxer, which I thought he was too. I thought he was this nut, this like conspiracy theorist nut, until I read his book. I read The Real Anthony Fauci.
Bro, you're a conspiracy theorist nut. So of course you read his book and you were like, oh, I agree with this. I love when people go, oh, dude, I thought he was a conspiracy theorist. The guy is a conspiracy theorist. And then I read his book about conspiracy theories and I agreed with them because I'm a conspiracy theorist. And I went, oh my God, everything clicked.
How much of this is real? Because if it's all real, this is fucking insane. And we live in a world where we're being manipulated by these health organizations that are being paid by the pharmaceutical drug interest.
What turns medicine sour, I would say, what actually holds back innovation in the medical field is literally the profit motive. Dumping a shitload of money into R&D, but the R&D is not actually finding new ways of using existing medication for different ailments, but instead finding new ways of extending your patent is actually against innovation. It actually harms innovation in the medical field. But most novel chemical compounds are still found in publicly funded research facilities, not by people who want to fucking, make billions of dollars or whatever, but oftentimes just people working to genuinely advance mankind, people working to, make medicine readily available. That's why some of the most important medical innovation in the form of novel chemical compounds and their application in the medical field have come from people who have literally given their patents out for no money whatsoever. Okay, insulin being a phenomenal example of this. Yeah, landlords want to sell you houses, you need shelter, or landlords want you to rent the house from them and you need shelter, so you have no choice. That doesn't mean houses are bad as a concept. Thank you. That is a brilliant analogy, chatter. I believe that the profit motive should be completely ripped away from medical innovation and the field of pharmaceuticals in general and healthcare in general, okay? I am a major advocate for free healthcare. Major advocate for free healthcare. I think it's gross. It's disgusting. There is an inelastic demand there regardless. So even from a hyper-capitalist framework, everybody understands. Anyone with basic Econ 101 understands that healthcare has inelastic demand and therefore has to be heavily regulated. What will be the incentive to innovate? What do you mean, brother? What do you mean? I just explained to you that there is no incentive to innovate in terms of profit right now. Almost all of the novel chemical compounds come from pharmaceutical research happening at publicly funded institutions. You think scientists are only doing science because they want to fucking make money? That's crazy. So a lot of this mismatch in this field specifically, the anti-vaxxer shit, is literally born out of that weird juxtaposition of looking at your medical care professionals and thinking of them as people who are trying to farm you, people who are trying to make money off of you. That is where a lot of the skepticism comes from. And I don't think people understand how dangerous that is for the future of mankind, okay? It should not be profit driven. The people that actually make out like bandits in the pharmaceutical field, in the field of medicine, are not the actual fucking grad researchers, okay? They're barely making ends meet. I fear that you've never actually met someone who is a PhD, who is actually a grad student working on this research. So you just in your mind think these are all homosexual Marxists, but then also simultaneously multimillionaires only working on this kind of stuff specifically for the profit motive, when it is the furthest from the truth. They have genuine fascination with whatever they're working on, and they want to also make the world a better place. This is a normal incentive that a lot of human beings have. The people that are actually making the money are executives that don't actually play a role in the research part at all. They are the ones who then land on the patents and then try to work as best as they can to extend those patents. Use all the money that they make and dump it back into marketing. Use all the money that they make and dump it back into research and development, but not necessarily for novel chemical compound discovery, but instead research and development for new mechanisms of delivery. This is a trick pharmaceutical companies use, Big Pharma uses, to extend the patents that they have. People always talk about how, profit motives, and including Joe Rogan, who doesn't understand it, by the way. Joe Rogan doesn't understand the problem. He's literally talking about how the systems are so broken fundamentally. but doesn't understand what the reasoning is. So inevitably, you just go back to this, they are doing this attitude. It's the lack of interest in like examining the underlying reasons as to why this structural problem exists. And the structural problem exists because of capitalism, because people have lied for years and years about the profit motive and how that is the only reason why people do shit. Anyway,